Hi all. Today we'll be learning about the C programming language. In the next slide we'll be learning about the contents which are involved in C programming language. Introduction, who has proposed, when and where, what are variables and different types of data types, and what are operators, what are conditional statements and the loops which are involved in it, arrays, strings, functions, pointers as well as structures, unions and error handling, and the last dynamic memory allocation in C. In the next slide, we can see the introduction. Actually, C is a general purpose language which was created by Dennis Ritchie in the Bell Laboratories in the year 1972. As it is a very popular language, it was a despite kind of old language. Here, the main reason for its popularity is it is a fundamental language in the field of computer science. As C is strongly associated with Unix as it developed to write in the Unix operating system. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the variables in C. As variables are nothing but containers for strong data values like the numbers and characters. In C, there are different types of variables. One is int, float, and character. Let's coming to the int. Here, it stores integers without decimals, such as 1, 1 to 3, minus 1 to 3, which means after the decimal point we can't keep those numbers. And next is float. Here we can store the floating point numbers, which means the decimals such as 19.99 or minus 19.99. Character. Here it stores single characters such as A, capital B, characters which are surrounded by some single quotes. In the next slide, we can see the different data types in C. Here it is classified into three types. One is primary and the second one is derived and the third one is user defined. In primary, again it is classified into integer, character, floating point, double floating point, void. And as well as in the derived, it is classified as function, array, pointer, reference. And in user defined data type, it is classified as class, structure, union, enum, type, def. Next slide, we'll be learning about the operators in C, which are relational operators, which is greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and not equal to. And the next one is assignment operators, which is equal to, plus assign, minus assign, multiply assign, divide assign, and modulus assign. And the next one is arithmetic operators, which are plus, minus, multiply, divide, and modulus. And the next one is logical operators, which are and, or, and not. And the next one is bitwise operators, which are and, or, bitwise left, bitwise right, and or not. And the next one is increment as well as decrement operators. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the conditional statements in C. Here, the conditional statements are nothing but decision making statements, which means in a particular code which makes a decision while the loop has to be performed or not. Here, there are different conditional statements. The first one is if statement, and next is if else if, nested if, or else if, and switch case. Here, we can see for if condition statement and a simple flowchart. Once if we start the flowchart, the condition has to be agreed, which means if the if statement true is satisfied, it goes to the if block, or else it directly goes false and then if statement is get. In the next slide, we'll be seeing the loops in C. Here there are three different types: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. In for loop, first it initializes the variable and check the conditions whether it executed or not, and if it is true, then it executes through the body and it updates the variable, and if it is false, and again repeats from the first statement and goes to the exit part. In the while loop, it is different. First it checks the condition, and if it is true, it goes through, executes the body and then updates the variable, or else it again repeats and go to the exit. In do while loop, it executes directly through the body and they check the condition here. If it is true, repeats and goes to the exit. Let's coming to the next slide, arrays in C. Here, an array is defined as a collection of similar type of data items which are stored in a contiguous memory locations. As arrays are derived data types in C programming language, which can store as primitive data types of such as int, character, double, float, etc. Here there are majorly three types of arrays. The first one is one-dimensional array. Here we can see the index as well as the elements are arranged in an array. Here in the next slide we'll be seeing about the two-dimensional array and three-dimensional array. In two-dimensional array we can consider as an array of arrays, which means a matrix consisting of rows and columns. Here we can see 3 rows and 3 columns are available in two-dimensional array. Coming to the three-dimensional array, we can see the array contains 3 dimensions, so it can be considered as an array of two-dimensional arrays. So we can see the two arrays are of same types which are connected. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the strings in C. In C programming language, string is a sequence of characters which is terminated with the null character 0. As a string is stored in an array of characters, which means the difference between a character in an array and the C string is that string is terminated with a unique character 0. For example, we can see character string is Oreo. If it is a 4-digit character, which means index is started with 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and ends with the third character, which means it addresses as well as the string. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the functions in C, as the functions are basic building blocks of a C program. In a function, as a set of statements are enclosed with curly brackets that are taken as inputs. So, do the competition as well as, and they provide the resultant output. Here, there are different types of functions in C programming language. They are classified into 2 types, which are library functions as well as user-defined functions. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the pointers in C. As in C, the variables that are used to store the memory address of another variables, as the pointers which allow us to efficiently manage this memory, and hence it optimizes our program in the kind of articles. In this article, we'll discuss some of the major applications of pointers in C. The applications are, these are used extensively in both C and C++ as 3 main purposes. The first one is to allocate new objects on the heap, and the next one is to pass the functions from one to another function, and the last one is to iterate over elements in an array or from other data structures. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the structures in C. As the structure is a user-defined data types which can be used from the group of items of possibility different types in a single type. Here, the structure is a keyword which is used to define the structure of a particular C programming language. The items in the structure are called as an member. They can be any valid data type. Here, we can define structure variable using 2 methods. The one which is used with the structure variable declaration with a structure template, and the other is structure variable declaration after structure template. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the unions in C. Here, the union is a user-defined data type in C programming language, which contains elements of different data types such as structure. But unlike structure, all the members in C union are stored in some same memory location. So due to this, we'll be here one member can store in the given instance, which means here union of cupcakes is considered, which means the character is stored in X and the float point is stored in the Y, which is considered as an object. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the error handlings in C. As C doesn't support the error handling, here there are some of the other ways which can be handling errors by the C language. which are the header file, which means error.h is used to print the errors, which is by using some return statement functions, as well as it returns some values which are -1 or null in case of any error, or error variable is set with the error code. Here some of the error handling options are available, given in below: error number, pre-error, stir error, exit status, and which is divided by 0 error. In the next slide, we'll be learning about the dynamic memory allocations in C. Here, the process of allocating a particular memory at a runtime is known as dynamic memory allocation. C does not inherit only have this specific facility. There are 4 library routines known as memory management functions that can be used for allocating and freeing memory during this program execution. These are the 4 memory allocations, or else the functions which are used during memory dynamic memory allocations in C, which are malloc, calloc, realloc, and free. Thank you for watching.